The day had come. Today was the day when my plans would be realized. A few months ago I had decided to change my life, and that change was to become a full-time van lifer. And this day, the 22nd of July 2022, was the day that journey would start. I jumped onto the night train in my hometown of Östersund and headed off. The journey would take me from Östersund, past Sundsvall, Gävle, Stockholm, and finally I'll end up in Hässleholm, where I had to change trains towards my final destination of Sölvesborg, where my future home was located. The journey started off well enough, but I was already beginning to regret my choice of second-class seat instead of getting a sleeper car, since I would have to sit in that seat for the upcoming 13 hours straight, and with the journey back home in the truck expected to take just as long, I could have used some sleep. I headed off to the dining car for some dinner and a few beers. While there, the conductor told me that since I already had a ticket, I could upgrade to a sleeper car for 100 euros, regardless of how much I paid for my original ticket. So I upgraded from a 50 euro seat to a 400 euro sleeper for the low cost of 100 euros. Totally worth it. I finished my dinner, which was chicken curry and rice, had one last beer for the road, and then went to sleep. I woke up about 7 hours later, just as the train was about to arrive at Hässleholm station. From there, all I had to do was to get on the final train, and 30 minutes later I would be in Sölvesborg and I would finally get to pick up my new home. And there it was, my new home, a Mercedes-Benz 609D from 1992. It looked alright, maybe a little bit worse than I had expected from the pictures, but there was just no way I was leaving without a truck today anyway, since I had just traveled half of the country on a one-way ticket without a plan B to get back home again. So I had a walkthrough, a test drive, and decided to go for it. I paid for the car and went on my way. Finally, all green meadows and sunshine from here. Nothing can go wrong now, I thought. Wrong. From this point on, everything that could go wrong went wrong. This was not going to be as smooth of a trip as I was hoping it would be. I made my way back home. Everything was smooth sailing. I passed Karlshamn, Karlskrona, and I reached Kalmar. This is where my hell began. My plan was originally to make some video of the road trip home as well, but since my troubles had already begun and I'm not a seasoned vlogger, recording was quickly forgotten. It was now 10 AM. I had made it about 2 hours from where I bought it, and all of a sudden the engine lost power, started to cough, and eventually died. It didn't fire back up again. And when I called the dude who had sold it to me, he didn't answer. My heart sank to my stomach. I wondered if I had been scammed. After waiting for about 30 minutes, I tried starting it again, and it worked. I continued the journey, but as soon as I let go of the gas pedal, it would die on me. So stopping was not an option, but I knew sooner or later I would have to stop for gas. I had now made it to Nyköping, and I had to stop to get some diesel. I filled up the tank, got back in the car, ready to go. I turned the key, and nothing. Absolutely nothing happened. I suspected that the starter engine had gone, which I later found out was the case. I had only gone 1/3 of the distance I needed to go, which was about 1,200 kilometers total, and I was already almost 2 hours behind schedule. And now this. I called a tow truck company to my location in the hopes that we could get a rolling start. I waited for about 1.5 hours for him to show up, but when he finally did show up, we managed to get it started again. Happy times. After this though, the van actually made it all the way back home, but since the starter was gone and every time I let go of the gas it would die on me, I could not stop until the very second I rolled into the yard at home. This meant a non-stop 12-hour drive. Time was 8 PM when I left the gas station in Nyköping, and I reached Östersund at 8 AM the following morning, totally exhausted. And this brings us to where we are now. So, what happened to the van? Did we figure out what was wrong with it? I think so. So I'm going to show you here. As I turn the key, the lights come on, but when I turn the ignition, nothing happens. Not even not a sound from the starter engine. And usually, if there is if it's working. You can hear a click from it, but you can't right now. So we suspect that it might be a starter engine problem. After returning home, we removed the starter engine, replaced it with a new one, and it fired right up. So that was problem number 1 fixed. Problem number 2 was that the engine would die on me even when it was running. And as it turned out, there is this little knob right next to the steering wheel that adjusts the idle. I had no idea that this knob even existed, and as I was driving home, the vibrations made the knob turn down to its lowest setting, hence making the van die on me when I let go of the throttle. And for problem number 3, why did it die on me in the first place? That was apparently due to the diesel filter not being bled after a new one had been installed. On top of the filter can, there is a bolt you loosen to let the air out. I had no idea this was a thing either, but after bleeding the air out, it works perfect. So far. So, let's start taking this van apart. So yeah, I'm going to give you a quick tour inside. Pretty basic. Doesn't look too bad, but there's still a few things that I would like to change. We have a little quarter with 2 beds, bunk beds, a little kitchen over there with a fridge, a sink. For some reason they decided to shut this door, so it can't open right now. I'm hoping that once I remove all of this, it will be able to unlock that door and make it function again, because that would be awesome, so you don't have to use these doors and, you know, squeeze through here to get into the cabin area. We have approximately 1.5, maybe 2 meters from the doors to the wall. And once we tear down the wall, we will have another approximately 2 meters. So I have a little bit of space to work with. The truck is 2 meters from floor to roof. I'm 186. So after I've put in the isolation on the floor and in the roof, I think I will lose approximately 10 centimeters. So I should be fine either way. So yeah, that's the short introduction of the car, and I thought that I would put on a time lapse as I'm tearing the rear part of the car apart, and if I have something to add along the way, I will either make a short clip of my findings, or I will put an audio track above the video. So yeah, let's go. So, short update. I was picking apart the air condition or refrigeration system. I cut a pipe up there, so it's now leaking fluids. The system is under pressure, so I will let that finish for now and start on the inside instead. First step, I think, is going to be removing that ugly ass passenger seat and then work my way from there. So I will find a place for the GoPro and then I will make another time lapse. So let's go. so I'm pretty exhausted, so I think I'm going to call it for the day. I've been here for like 2.5 hours now, and this last wall, it won't budge, so I'm not really sure how they have mounted it, so I will have to figure it out tomorrow. I think I might just take a drill and the tiger saw and just, you know, cut straight through it that way and straight through it that way, so I get 4 big pieces that I can rip out instead of trying to tear this whole piece down. As you can see, I got rid of the cooling system. I got rid of the inner walls on both sides. I got rid of that big thing that was laying there. It's that thing over there, really heavy, so just by that gone I will save a lot of weight. The plan is to make 2 benches, one of either side, with the table in the middle, and then a bed that goes down and rests on the back support of the couches. It might be possible to put the water tanks, or at least one of the water tank, I think the fresh water tank, on this side under the couch, and then on this side maybe I will have the electricity central. The batteries, I'm leaning towards having solar panels as well. So solar panels, cables going down, the living area batteries down here, all the, you know, the electrical components that goes with that is also going to be under here. Yeah, so back here is going pretty well. And if we go over here, this is all the things that I've ripped out from the front area. My original plan was to quit for the day, but as the day moved on, the weather actually cleared up again. With the sun shining, I decided to continue working on that mill wall. After a few hours of rude words, blood and sweat, I managed to split the wall up into 4 big pieces that I could easily dispose of. And I think that will be all for this first episode. Next time we will start doing some bodywork and possibly a roof bracket for the solar panels. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.